I'm
Rah!
angry about cats.
When did we all get this dumb? Almost only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and nuclear warfare. I don't see any bodies, so it doesn't count.
I'm angry about cats.
I'm the chef. I want to hear one thing. Yes, chef. Come on, man. Use your brain. The Why I'm Angry podcast starts now. All right, here we are, the Why I'm Angry podcast, back on time, on schedule, and just here again. Some big things going on this weekend. It is Memorial Day weekend. Not to be confused with Veterans Day, which I think we do confuse a lot of times it with. And I feel like this is the more somber holiday. Yes, there's an extra day. Yes, it's the unofficial beginning of summer. And yes, you should kind of you should have your time with your friends and stuff like that, but don't forget to step back and just take stock in what your freedom costs some people's some people and some people's families. And just thinking about that, um just taking a moment. So obviously, Why I'm Angry podcast. This is Aaron, the chef, and I think Lady D will be on here shortly. And we're just gonna talk about Memorial Day a little bit. We're here in the Freestyle Man Cave studio, and we're just taking stock of the things that we take for granted every day. That the freedoms that we can enjoy, the ability to do certain things. That honestly, if you get into it, if you look at it, there are third world countries that are not able to do some of these things. And so, just kind of taking some stock. And so just a few things that I thought was interesting. So the Memorial Day was called Decoration Day. Kind of in the beginning, it was originally known as Decoration Day. The first, or they kind of say the first Memorial Day, was on April 25th through the 26th, maybe, in 1866, honoring Confederate and Union dead in the South and North. Some say it's widely observed that on May 30th, 1868, to commemorate sacrifices of Civil War by General John A. Logan of the Grand Army of the Republic. So it's just kind of a little argument, I guess, about the Memorial Day. Its unofficial symbol is the red poppy. It comes from World War One. The first 3-day Memorial Day weekend. So first big, when they added an extra day to your weekend was in 1971. And obviously it's just a somber day. It's one of those days where we thank a lot of veterans, and we should always be thanking our veterans, our people who stood up and defended our country, defended our way of life, and could have died, could have put it all on the line, was willing to put it all on the line for you. They say only two people have ever fought and died for you to save your life, and that's the American soldier and Jesus Christ. And I like to think that some of these American soldiers took the example and realized that there's no greater gift or greater love that you can give, but then to give up your life for a friend and just appreciate those who have died for us on Memorial Day weekend. As this is going to come out, this is live right now on Thursday. The podcast will be out on Friday, so if you're listening to the podcast, this is kind of your early get into it, set the tone for the weekend. Um, we've got Flanders Field to read at the end. Like I said, Lady D will be popping on here shortly, and we're gonna get into the news here and do that. But just wanted to take a moment and just really just kind of go over, just kind of realize what it meant. Make sure that if you get a chance, if you've got family members that are veterans and are going to a Memorial Day service, that if you get a chance, go with them. Get even if you don't have family members that are if you've got an opportunity, um, get out to a Memorial Day service. Normally they're obviously in cemeteries, and you can kind of look around, your local area. But it really will start to help instill that patriotic value. If you want to, sometimes we've spoken on the show about how people have lost their patriotic, the country has lost its love for itself. That we're not the great, we try to preach that we're not the greatest and blah blah blah. That puts such a target on our back. But as a country, giving and all of that benevolent giving, we are the we have been the single greatest country in the world of just being able to give of our excess, to other countries and to help them. And obviously, we've done some things as a country that maybe wasn't as benevolent or as you know up and up. But I think for the most part, if you go away from the governmental giving or whatever, and you look at actual people, we send out more missionaries, we send out more, you know, aid from private or subsidized companies um, than any other country. I mean, I don't know, any other country that's sending out a bunch of any of aid or things like that. So just take a moment this weekend and give yourself a little bit of time to reflect and just think about what really what the freedom to say what you want to say, to put your beliefs out there, really what that means. Because in other countries, in countries not too far distant from us, that aren't too far removed, it's not as easy. It's not something that you can go do all the time, is to give your opinion, or so. And there's even some legislation here that's starting to encroach and invade upon our ability to speak what we have to say. So just although it is a celebrated, thank you for honor your peers and your the people who have gone before us, um to fight, and who have died, and all of that. Honor those people, and have that celebration. I mean, I'm not saying we don't get excited and just, celebrate their lives. Because, if you just celebrate the death, that's a, kinda kinda sad and belingering thing to do. I'm one of those that just I don't I just, at my funeral, I don't want people to be sad I'm gone, but to celebrate, everything that I accomplished or to just go out and have a time together, that I would have approved of, that I would have gone and done myself. I'd like them to just, go to a game or something. I don't care about everybody seeing me sitting in a pine box or something. So, make sure you do some celebrating in that, and don't make it all somber and that. But you know, just bring yourself back. Just do some soul searching, some reflection. Just kind of center yourself. Bring that back to it. And we're gonna have great summers, and there's just gonna be great weather and great times and memories made and stuff. But you know, just remembering where we came from sometimes is a good thing. So in the news, and I'm gonna get this started, I guess here. Um, so I was looking, the UK, which I don't understand this 100%, but the UK has set an election day. They set the election day for July 4th. I'm not sure if that means anything. But it says the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak set it for yesterday. Set it for the general elections for July 4th. Basically, she had 5 years. It says to set a general election. They have to have a general election every 5 years, no more than 5 years apart. And so they set it for July 4th. They had until January of 2025, so the end of this year, to set it. Um, it says that the last time they did it was in 2019, which makes sense, obviously. But that Boris Johnson was the prime minister that they replaced the former prime minister with Boris Johnson. But they've had prime ministers since, so I'm not sure. He wasn't in office all that terribly long. So I'm not sure what exactly it they whether they're electing a prime minister or they have a general election. It's just it's kind of symbolic, like the Queen or something. Is there, everything's symbolic over there? They pretend that everything is important, or that things are important, and it's just a symbolic gesture. But so yeah. So yeah, they had Boris Johnson, and let's see. Let me look to see who they have had since Boris Johnson in between Rishi Sunak and that. All right, past prime ministers. Yeah, because they had this Liz. They had Theresa May was the one before Boris Johnson. Then they had Elizabeth Truss, and then now they've got this Rishi guy. but these people didn't, Boris Johnson didn't last 5 years. He was until 2022. Theresa May didn't last 5 years. She was from 2016 to 19. So they don't have an election in between that, or there's just one big general election that they elect everybody and then they elect people when they need it, probably. Is I'm guessing is kind of it. Without being a geopolitical, advisor or a European politics expert. But it does say that one of the articles I was reading does say that it looks like Rishi is behind Keir Starmer, who is from the Labour Party, which is kind of their lefter-leaning party. Because I guess he's part of the conservative, the center-right conservatives, which I wonder if they're center-right for real or if they're more left-leaning, center-left, but because of the way that the world is anymore, they are the most center-right leaning people out there. Because you got guys like John F. Kennedy Jr., who actually is a left-leaning centralist, not more conservative Democrat, but has always been a left side Democrat. Isn't a leading, isn't really right at all. He's now one of a centralist style Democrat because of all of the push to the left. And so you're getting guys pushing more left, more central, even in the Republican Party. And so, it's gotten to the point where you really can't blindly vote for any party because they may lean for the votes or they may whatever. So that's just it's kind of interesting. It'll be kind of interesting to see what happens. They said that the figures show inflation slowing to 2.3% last month, down 11%, down from 11% in 2022. Has helped a little bit. May help him, be able to. So he announced the early elections instead of it in the winter, so that there's more turnout, so that maybe with these better numbers coming out, that maybe that'll help him. But yeah. So the Biden administration approved the cancellation of another $7.7 billion in student debt yesterday, for an estimated 160,500 eligible borrowers. The move is part of the White House's incremental approach to canceling federal student loans via program adjustments as it builds out a broader debt plan. Yesterday's approval brings the administration's total debt relief to about $167 billion for nearly 5 million borrowers. This isn't what it was supposed to be. Now, I've had some debt cancellation because of a class action lawsuit, because of the way that they came at us as chefs, promising us certain things. They were, I guess the judge ruled that they were adversarial in their practices for recruiting. And while being adversarial, they promised salaries and things of that nature that they really couldn't promise that there wasn't really it wasn't realistic. As when we were being recruited, or when I was being recruited into culinary school, there was always the promise of, you're gonna make hundreds of thousands, $100,000, or $150,000, or you're gonna make up to blah 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 per year. And I knew that coming out of school, I was definitely not gonna make that. I mean, my first job, I was working with the Marriott organization, and I took an internship, which the school called an externship because we weren't really going to the school at the time. We had 4 months of kind of what they called on the job externship, where they wanted each chef to kind of put us through different areas, prep and production on the line into banquets type thing. And just so that we got the full picture of what it is, and became well-rounded, chefs, skilled chefs. But you don't leave the culinary industry, you don't leave culinary school as a chef. You leave culinary school as a culinarian, as a prep cook, or as a line cook maybe. It cuts down a couple years of like struggles, 5 or 6 years of struggles, and it gives you the basic background knowledge so that um the problems that most cooks would have to go to the chef about, cooking wise, you should be able to fix. And they crammed it down my throat so much that there were a lot of things, because it was such a fast-paced program, a lot of things that I knew that I didn't know I knew until that problem arose. And so just anyhow, long story long, they told us that they could guarantee we would make so much money um after our first few years of being in the industry. After a couple of years, you should be making blah blah blah. You should come out of school making 50, 60,000 a year, and that wasn't the case either, because I came out of school after my internship, after I finally got the Marriott to start paying me for being an employee and not an intern, and they wanted to pay me like $8.50 an hour. And at that time, minimum wage was 5 something, and that was, okay, it was what it was. I was living at home, and, working on getting out and getting an apartment and stuff like that. And, the Marriott was a good organization that gave me a good base of education. I ended up, running banquets for the Marriott and stuff like that, and when we had big events and things like that, I was one of the go-to cooks, um, which then put me in line for, going into other I helped an up and coming catering company. I took over as the executive chef at, you know, 23, 24, um, and that kind of thing. But it didn't, you know, it's still, even at that, I was still only making about 35,000 a year. And that, and at that time, that was okay money. That was decent money, but it wasn't all your bills paid. You don't have to worry about anything but just making the money, and then, the bills coming out of it, type deal. Like, they kept telling us that this is such a lucrative opportunity. This is what you're gonna, this is what most people, attain, work for years and stuff. And this schooling is going to get you to where you need to be. No, the schooling doesn't get you to where you're going to be. It gives you the base to be able to springboard off. I mean, it's a little easier to do culinary school, but you could do anything you wanted in the kitchen, if you just pay attention, get under the right chef, go to the right job, and put yourself into it. And so, honestly, that's part of why I'm no longer into it full time, because it would have become a religion to me. And there's a reason that there is so much in the fact of having in the divorce rate in culinary school, or in the culinary industry. And there is also, wait a second here. All right. And there's also a reason that there is so much drug use and drug abuse and substance abuse in that industry, because it overtakes your life, because it you can't make enough in 40 hours. You can't make enough in 50 hours. Your company doesn't run smooth enough if you don't put in 60, 70, 80 hours. I remember the one time I was working, I even moved to the Pizza Hut Corporation, and I was working for them for just a little bit. And I was putting in 50 some hours. The one week I put in 50 some hours, I was sick, and called them up and said, I've put in almost 60 hours this week. I need the day off. And they're like, "Oh no, you can't have the day off. We can't. Was some girl cut her finger off, and this person fell in the freezer, and you've got to work." And I'm like, I can barely stand. I don't even know that I can drive, let alone, um, try to, work a whole shift. I'll sit there as a puppet. But, you know, so this is one of those deals. I'm gonna bring Lady D in and get her opinion on it, and then I've got a couple other good articles I think Lady D will enjoy. And let's see. Lady D.
Hey, listeners.
Hey, listeners. I was just talking about the Biden bill that he just signed about canceling school debt.
Okay. Where we at on this, JoJo?
So I was just saying that I went to culinary school, and so there was a class action lawsuit, and so I had some of my debt canceled because of the class action lawsuit. Because they were predatory lending, basically, that chefs could make. They were promising us like $100,000 right out of school type stuff. And basically, when it came down to it, like I said, when I came out of school, I was making like $750 for my internship, and then like $850 an hour for just as a regular prep cook. And I think at the Marriott, I think I got to $9 as their banquet lead. Like, I was running all the banquets basically at that time.
What year are we talking?
This was like 2003, 2004. I mean,
Okay.
the base the minimum wage was $5. So it's not like I was killing it over minimum wage or anything like that. But
Right.
it was an easier, simpler time. And we were making less money back then, and the inflation wasn't probably half as high. Gas was probably about $1.25, $1.30 at that point. So,
Mm-hmm.
but anyway, he signed the bill, yesterday. Here, I'm sure. Let me get back to my article here. He signed the bill yesterday. It includes another 160,500 eligible borrowers, $7.7 billion in student loan debt, and that will bring the total, because he's kind of doing this in an incremental. So I guess that it gets through. I don't know what it's added to, but it's obviously part of a kind of adjustments plan. But it builds up to $167 billion, and will help nearly 5 million borrowers.
Is this the debt? But is this plan that he passed, law that he passed, whatever it's called? Is
Yep.
this though the same thing for the health care?
So I didn't actually see the one I've got. The article I've got didn't say exactly how, like, what it was attached to. So it says the latest round of relief applies to people enrolled in specific federal loan programs that reduce or cancels the debt in exchange for public services like teaching. Well, and they've had that for a while.
Right.
Or by consideration of an individual's income, known as income-driven repayment plans, which they've had for a while. So I don't know
Right.
whether this is something brand new or anything, but
So I think a lot of the problem is that he's not doing anything that has not already been in place. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Right.
I'm only speaking on this stuff from a personal standpoint because yes, I have a degree, and yes, I went to school, and yes, I am still currently paying back my student loans. But
Right.
the problem that I keep having with this is like I understand that when you try to go and commit to canceling this debt, that somewhere down the line the government is going to suffer. And it's basically going to be a loss somewhere down the line. You just don't know where. But the problem is you keep singling out the people who are public works people, and that doesn't include a lot of people. Like that's the teachers. I believe if you work, is the postal service on there?
I think it was when I was looking at it, because I was looking into to going to teaching for a while, and I saw that, if I went back to school, they would actually cancel the debt after a year of teaching.
So yeah, teachers, nurses, EMTs, paramedics, firefighters, and I think it's one more. Police officers. I believe it should be also included on this list, whatever. But that's not something that is like he hasn't included. Like for example, I feel as if you work in transportation, like bus driver, airline employee, cargo, you know what I'm saying? Like you should be included because at the end of the day, in my mind, you're doing public works.
Right.
But it's always still the same group. But I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm hating on them because I believe, yeah, you should have your debt forgiven. But if you're going to do it, expand it to at least the people who are in public transportation, like our bus drivers who drive the city buses. I'm pretty sure they're not included on that. They deal with the people who are in charge of making sure goods are transported. Like if you are a truck driver or you do cargo, you work for FedEx, UPS, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? If you are an airline pilot, although you probably don't need your student loans forgiven because you got kudos of money, it would still just be nice to be included in that industry with them because it's still a public service.
Well, and they say, like, because back when he first signed it, before the Supreme Court rejected the administration's $400 billion attempt, that it was everybody. Like I got an email saying that my debt was going to be canceled, and that kind of thing, because I honestly still have student loans I have a few small ones that I just chipping away at, from culinary school back in 2001, because I've honestly fought and fought and fought for years just to even, be able to pay, certain little bits here and there and stuff.
Right.
And then I just saw there was a class action lawsuit for the other school I went to. I went to a graphic design school, and they did the same kind of predatory lending type deal, to get you in. And then their deal more was that they raised the rates so high because they knew that you weren't paying for that. It was going on a loan, and so that it wasn't coming straight out of your pocket, and so you just sign whatever. And so they
Right.
made, so they have another lawsuit that I just got an email about this like 2 weeks ago, saying that because I was part of that they were going to reduce or eliminate part of my my loans because of the class action lawsuit. But that's something separate altogether. That's not the government itself paying off your loans. That's those colleges or institutions that have to pay off your loans
Yeah.
because of the
Like I said,
lawsuit.
I'm all for Biden, whatever, forgiving the student loan debt. I know people have mixed reviews about it. My stance on it is this: if you're not going to include everybody, then don't include nobody at all. Like, make it be a case by case situation.
Right. So I have mixed feelings about it also. I do feel like, I don't have any problem with teachers or police officers or EMTs if they do a year or two of public service. I mean, that's for real. That's and they're not getting paid a ton.
Right.
And they're helping the public interest, and maybe that's even an incentive to going into those jobs or careers for a year or two, kind of like the military. They set up you can get a free education, which is stupid as heck, because you're defending the country, and the education you're really getting is not free in any way. You're definitely sacrificing
Paying for it some way.
Yeah, you're definitely sacrificing,
Yeah.
and in some instances, since we're talking about Memorial Day weekend, and that's kind of how we opened the show, is with some facts about Memorial Day, and that you're giving yourself a chance of not coming back and not getting any education. But yeah, so at the same point, I also feel like you go to school, and there have to be some, you're getting an education, you're paying for your education. And if you're, this is going to sound terrible, but it's gotten to the point where if you're silly enough to think you have to have an education, then you paid those bills. How about everybody that paid all those doctors that paid off all their loans? Are we paying them back? Are we helping, or those guys are public servants also? Are we paying back all the people who paid, like my parents have helped me out during, in the first few years of my college, out of college, helped me pay back a lot of my loans. It's just these, final few, college loans that I have that linger, but, are they getting paid back, tens of thousands of dollars for putting that in there? Then the answer is no. They're just going to cancel your debt, and then think that $400 billion out of the $167 billion just vanishing out of the economy doesn't hurt the economy in some way or another. And maybe it actually doesn't, because they're printing money at a level that doesn't keep up with the dollar's actual value. And so maybe that just vanishing maybe those vanishing dollars are just a weights and balances for all of the dollars and cents that they're printing right now that don't have any weight to them.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I feel like if JoJo do the right thing, like there's people out there literally struggling right now, just to even pay back this the payment. And I know that they like when it was time for us to repay, they lowered my payment than what I had been paying, which I'm thankful for that too. But at the same time, at what point and at what cost is that going to change?
Right.
Because that was also a part of the whole when it came time to repay the loans back. It was like written in the plan or in the bill that you know everybody's payment would be lower.
But and this is really what I like. What like the guiding principle of it is don't think that just wiping it away and nothing, you not having to pay it, it's just gone. Like the debt is just gone altogether. Somewhere that debt has to be figured out. Whether
Right.
it's because those loan companies that hold your loans, whether they're governmental entities or not, they just lost that amount of money. Like that was part of their budget. And so, whether it's a governmental organization or what, I mean, I don't know if you realize this, but the government can't lose $167 billion and and still pay all of their bills. I mean, that's why they're taxing us to death.
Well,
that's why you continue to see tax raises, and that's why you continue to see us actually borrowing more money from China to pay down our, we raise our debt ceiling, and that is because we're not bringing in the amount of money that we're spending on, that we're just in some cases just vanishing. $167 billion just vanished basically.
is does he have? I'm not sure either. I just can't remember. Is like the people anybody who works for like construction, like Department of Transportation, are they included on it? And
No,
see,
it's
that's crazy to
literally
me.
right now. It's based off of. It looks like it's based off of individual
Because that's
income.
public works.
Right. Well, and it is. It some of that though is more of it's public works, but it's public works on a contract for a for-profit company. So some of these companies that have those public works contracts, they make tons of money because for one, the government basically just says, okay, well, sometimes, well, sometimes the contracts aren't gotten 100% legally, but there's always wheels to be greased and stuff like that. But these companies, a lot of the companies are making money. It's not a 501c3 company that's building your roads.
Mm-hmm.
And so that being said, a lot of your people who work for those companies are getting paid a normal wage. They're getting paid an industry wage. So which that industry wage is way more than I've made in most of my jobs.
I'm just saying, JoJo, put my name on the list. Just accidentally just type my whole name and social security number
Help a
on the
sister
list.
out. Help a
Yeah,
sister out. I mean,
literally. It would just be nice. Got a little extra blessing, the little debt paid off. Don't skip over
yeah, I
me.
mean, I'm against it because of it's bad for the economy. It's bad for, but at the same time, if it comes my way, I can't say that I'm just going to be like, no, on principle, I'm
Well,
going to.
I was thinking too, like when they had first was like, make sure you get your name on the list to have your loans forgiven. Just whatever the
Right.
little 10,000 that they promised. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever happened to that? Like that
Well,
would probably make
that was what the Supreme Court rejected. Because
and to me that's silly. Like 10,000 can go a long way for some people.
it would, but there's no constitutional, and this is where you get into it, is there's no constitutional protections to be able to, there's nowhere in the Constitution that says you have the right to an education. You have the right to pursue a happy life, or a life that is fulfilled, pursue the American dream. But you could do that as an apprentice. You could do that as a McDonald's worker. You can do it however you see fit, and there's no so there's no right to that education. If there was a right to education, or if education wasn't a privilege, it was a right, then the government then would give you the money to go to these places. But if that's the case, unfortunately, then the government controls who gets to go, where they get to go, what they get to learn, all of that stuff. And honestly, I think there needs to be an overhaul in the education process, because we put kids out there at 18 years old, and did you know what you wanted to be when you were 18?
A superstar.
Right. But what did you want to be a superstar as? What were you trying to, because beyond that, and then we give them $100,000 in education, or whatever it costs to educate people anymore. And we, and we give, and you get that education, but then you get out 4 or 5 years later and you realize, I had no clue what I was doing. Why would I do that? Or you get it there 2 years and you change, and so then you spend the extra whatever to get to change to a different place, or you spend the extra. But that's the system that we've built up, that we have to do. And it's kind of like I've been saying, though, like if you're preparing for the end, if you were intelligent, you would hedge your bets. It's kind of like going to the NBA or going to the NFL or something like that. If you were an intelligent kid and you wanted to go to the NFL, you'd also learn a trade. Work hard, learn, get yourself an education while you're going, while you're getting a free ride. Because obviously, we've seen it case and case again that you're not you're not promised that ride. And if you blow your knee out the week before the NFL draft, you blow your knee out, you're not getting the $25 million for first round.
I feel like that happened to a player recently.
Yeah, one of the Michigan guys.
Yeah, he got injured really bad.
Yeah, in the Ohio State game, he broke his leg. They took him in the 5th round. He was dead on a first round, offensive lineman. Yeah, they took him in the 5th round now. So he doesn't get a guaranteed contract of anything. Johnny Manziel never played, he played a few games, but never really, played 1 year of NFL football, and is living off of his $25 million signing bonus.
Must be nice.
So, fair's fair till it's not fair. So, it's signed. We'll see what happens. I mean, it's not. I mean, I'm sure that they'll still run it through the Supreme Court. There'll be some kind of like whatever. Honestly, if it holds to the point of, it's for educators, for police, kind of like that, your first responders and things, I don't care. Those guys should get, those guys get crapped on all the time about, for, they do a job that they don't get paid much for, and, that kind of thing. So really that's, that to me may be a great perk for them, and may be able to, because there's no high school out there that's paying them what they're worth.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like I said, I'm not knocking the EMTs or the paramedics or none of that. um,
Right.
whatsoever, because I believe that they or the firefighters,
Right.
because I know that they don't make a whole lot of money. I just wanted to be, what's the word that everybody likes to use now, inclusive. So
I,
include me.
I want to, and right. I mean, I honestly, like
Include
I
me.
said, it would be nice if the government did something for you and that kind of thing. But at the same point, I do believe in the government being out of my life. I would rather them not do anything for me and just give me a fair shake, so that if I work harder than the next guy, then then my hard work earns me more than the next guy.
True.
But you know, you know, So I'd rather that than them getting involved and then they say, this is what you can and can't do and doesn't matter how hard you work type thing. Which is kind of what we're starting to see a lot in governmental affairs and things. So
Imagine being told you didn't work hard enough and you've been getting the living daylights worked out of you.
right. Well, and that's honestly, if you go, and that's what most people don't realize is in the UK or even where we're supposed to be super civilized, that if you don't do well enough in school, like think about this. We started school at 5 years old, and they finished school like 12, 13, 14, and then they decide whether they're going into university or whatever. But if you don't work hard enough and pass the tests at 14, 15, then you don't go to university. You don't get a paid education. They
Mm-hmm.
talk about how you get it's free education, free education. No, it's free for those who qualify. It's free for those who have worked hard, who have either parents that push them or um whatever, that did a better job. If you like, why would they pay for somebody who didn't care about their, like me? I probably would not have gotten into a university because I honestly didn't work that hard in high school because it was so freaking boring. It didn't have anything to do with what I wanted to do with my life. Culinary school, I mean, I almost graduated, like, I was top so many in my class. In high school, I was like, I failed two of my last semesters in my class because sh- I didn't I didn't care. I didn't work that hard. I knew I was already accepted at college, and as long as I passed the classes that I needed for school, then I was out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I failed like two electives, two two whole semesters of electives in my senior year.
Don't tell nobody else this story. It's an elective.
It's an elective.
Elective.
Yeah, I mean, I failed an architecture elective, and I really liked the class. I just didn't get the projects done. So,
Mm, 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 mm.
but but you know, so this was a story I kind of saved for you. Graceland stays with the family.
Is
So
this
a
a story
Tennessee
about elderly
judge,
people?
yeah, a Tennessee judge ruled
Okay.
yesterday that to prevent the foreclosure of Elvis Presley's Graceland estate, basically, Nosani Investments, a private lending LLC, maybe a private lending LLC, um, said it loaned Presley's daughter, Lisa Marie, $3.8 million in 2018. And using Graceland as collateral. The company said failure to repay the loan allows it to foreclose on the property, submitting a notarized note as evidence of the loan.
Hold on, didn't the daughter die?
Yeah, Lisa Marie is gone. I think in 2018.
I thought it was sooner than that, but
oh no, she died in January.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like,
I thought she was gone before that, but maybe not. Maybe we hadn't seen her in a while. So yeah, she died.
Too soon. Too soon. Too soon.
Too soon.
It's only been 4 months. Too soon.
Yeah, no, she died in January, and they're saying now conveniently after she died that that she owed them money.
Okay, so then her daddy, well, I don't know, it was for my time, my generation, so yeah, don't come for me too much. Didn't when Elvis died, I remember watching a movie on HBO, or I'm sorry, Max, about the Elvis story. But I knew that Elvis' manager had him in a lot of debt, right?
Yeah.
So was she not left with any like money from his estate when he died?
Yeah, so the main thing I think on Elvis's deal is that he didn't own any of his songs or anything.
Okay.
Or like the beginning song, like the early stuff, he didn't own any rights to it, and he didn't own even his likeness to the movies, to the first so many movies. And so he had got paid for them. He had done okay in some investment, like some land investment, real estate investments, but their main claim to fame is Graceland. And I think she got a meager estate and the Graceland, which right now is worth somewhere around over $400 million. So, like, to get a $3.8 million loan would have been nothing, and you wouldn't have taken, like, you wouldn't, like, a judge wouldn't even let you probably even take Graceland. They would, you would sell his car or something, or
she could sell a guitar or outfit.
Like an outfit from when he was in Vegas or something before he died, right before he died or something, and that would cover that. But at the same point, it's hard to say that if it was a real debt, that it wouldn't have been squared and then transferred to the daughter of Lisa Marie. Because that's who owns it now.
Is Lisa Marie the one that messed around with Michael Jackson?
Yes.
And do they got a kid?
Yes.
Okay.
One of her it's Graceland, blah blah blah. I saw it.
It's not Blanket. It's the girl, right? Let me not lie.
It's one of the girl. Yeah, it's one of the girls. It was daughter, Presley's daughter. Where did I see it?
I don't know which one is named.
Presley's family, the judge accused. Here it is. Danielle Riley Coe is Elvis's granddaughter who owns Graceland. She sued to block the sale, calling the document counterfeit and the company fake because and the notary public denies ever overseeing a document signed by Lisa Marie. So the company represented in the written statement by a man named Gregory Nassani which seems familiar. Oh, that's right. It's Nasani Investments and Private Lending, LLC.
Who's that?
Well, Gregory Nasani is the lawyer who's representing the company. Nasani Investments is who said they loaned the $3.8 million and is foreclosing on Graceland.
I just Googled her. I didn't realize that she had 2 children and one of them died in 2020.
Maybe that's who I was thinking of then, that had been gone for a little while.
Yeah, apparently it was his cause of death was suicide. His name was Benjamin. So it sounds like to me that they was misappropriating funds, or
it sounds like to me because Nasani's company lacks a physical address. Sounds like this is a load of crap.
He got a P.O. box?
No, he does. I don't know. He may have a P.O. box, but following the judge's ruling, the company has withdrawn its claims. They also don't have any written, like they don't have a written statement. Like they don't have like an actual like document signed by Lisa Marie. Like they don't, other than this note. If you're going to lend somebody $3.8 million, you're not putting it on a note.
Right. So, I mean, like I said, I know when Elvis died, he was in debt. Like that's no secret, and his manager was doing a whole lot of shiesty stuff. But I would have thought that with all the money, the whole time. Oh yeah, his manager deserves a chair. But I would have thought that with all this time that's passed, that they would have made enough profit to the point that they wouldn't have no debt.
I mean, I'm sure that there's still some debt, but they do a pretty good. I mean, Graceland boasts like it's 600,000 visitors a year.
Right, so that's like enough to pay the mortgage, right?
Yeah, I would think.
I mean, I don't know.
And I mean, they said they bought the house for $102,500 back in 1957. So I'm sure that the place has been paid off and remortgaged and paid off and remortgaged.
Right.
I mean, and it's so the land itself is worth about $400 million. So I can't see them being like, whoa, we didn't pay this $3.8 million debt because we couldn't afford it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it don't make, like, people literally go to Memphis risking their life to go see Graceland.
Right.
Like, so.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would have thought.
Like I said, I don't think it's real. But it does seem.
It could be fake news.
It is fake news, I think. The judge accused the company of trying to sell it as a possible fraud. So I think, yeah, it's definitely, one of those deals where it's not anything. But I mean, kind of.
I mean, you think about it. That's like Neverland with Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
his family does not own that property.
No, but Michael Jackson was at least intelligent enough. His estate owns the rights to the Beatles. It owns the right to a lot of Eminem songs. Huh?
Who said he owns the right to Eminem's?
A lot of Eminem's first albums. The Michael Jackson estate bought Michael Jackson himself, because he had some beef with Eminem, bought it out.
Not him beefing with Slim Shady.
Back in the beginning.
He the real Slim Shady.
Right. He's not anymore. Slim Shady died for this album.
I'm proud of what's that real man name?
Marshall Mathers.
I'm proud of him, Because I saw something about a month ago that said he was, I believe, 16 years clean, sober.
Yeah, I mean, he honestly he's taken himself out of a really bad situation, figured out how to make something of himself, and I don't know, but we'll see. But
I
yeah,
just
so
Googled, Elvis was
yeah,
young when he passed away.
yeah, youngish.
He was only 42.
Yeah, that's what I said. I mean, he could actually still be alive today, but he was. I mean, he was doing tons and tons of cocaine and other things that definitely was not an easy life road to be on. So
Mm, 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 mm. Down in Tennessee.
so, but yeah,
Colonel Tom Parker, that's the man
that was
who
his.
was
That
that was his manager that put him in all
was
that
his
debt.
manager. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. He's something else too. He died. His cause of death, stroke.
yeah.
Mm. Now I want to go listen to some Michael Jackson. Gary, Indiana.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Michael Jackson
Huh?
estate actually owns more songs that Michael Jackson never released.
And see, I thought that one of Michael Jackson's kids. Okay, so it's alleged he don't have no kids with Lisa Marie Presley. They were just married, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because
It was
it's
a short
showing.
marriage.
Yeah, they was only married for 2 years, but it's showing. I mean, granted, it is Google, Wikipedia. So Michael Jr. is not that his mama is not Elvis. Not Elvis, Lord, yeah. His mama's not Elvis. His mother is not Lisa Marie Presley. I thought that's who it was. That was his.
Oh, Elvis Jr. Yeah.
That they had. Yeah, I thought him and Michael Jackson, her and Michael Jackson shared a child, but I guess they were just married. Now, which one do they call Blanket? Oh, this is him, Biggie. All right, let's move on to the next topic. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So there really isn't a ton for today. I mean, it just Anthropic provides deepest study to date exploring why large language models, including the company's Claude 3 chatbot, generate content in response to different prompts. They're basically just providing why the chatbots will say, we'll give you certain content on certain things. So,
I have noticed the AI chat boxes have gotten really out of hand. First of all, I didn't even know what a chat GPT was until your wife said it one day, and I said, "What is that?"
right.
But I have noticed that it's gotten out of hand, especially like when you try to search for certain things. I don't want to talk to a robot.
Well, and I feel like it hasn't gotten better over the last like 6 months to a year. Like it's become a little more convoluted because I've tried to use, because we are a small podcast, I've tried to use chat some of the different AI programs to help us find good articles and help, because it does take a ton of time to research, and which is why I tell everybody, out there that if you find a great article or great something that you want us to go over or read, shoot it to our email address at whyimangry at podcast@gmail.com. And so, but I've tried to use some of those and things like that, and it's like, oh, we can't be providing fake news, or we can't vet the articles because blah blah blah. And I'm like, you're AI, just vet the article yourself. You figure it out. You've got all of the internet in your disposal. Just shoot me the article so that I can vet it. I don't care. Like, let us think for ourselves here. But I know that there's plenty of people out there that aren't gonna, like take everything for a grain of salt and with a grain of salt and all that crap. So, but yeah, we've used AI like on writing ad copy for the podcast, and stuff like that, just to kind of like we'll write our what we want it to say, and then we'll let it kind of spruce it up a bit, I guess, for lack of a better term. But
would you ever get into one of those Uber cars?
We've talked about those on the show. San Francisco has not been a very good, I
just don't trust it. It just reminds me of like anything with a computer.
Right.
No.
Right.
I can't. Is it? Have I seen some of the stuff? Yes, but at the same time, can't trust it. I think that it's, yes, it does give a different insight and you can come up with some nice adjectives. Sure.
Right. I mean, like you said, we've used it to kind of spruce up our language on our website, or to kind of give us some more exciting scripts for certain things, that I've done in, the pre-side of the show and stuff like that. So, that's not a big deal, but
it reminds me of that movie. When you were a kid, did you ever watch the movie Smart House?
Yes, I remember it vaguely, but like the house went crazy and then locked someone
Yeah,
and all that.
That's how I feel like that's eventually what's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's pretty much what everybody says, is that your house is gonna lock you down. And I mean, honestly, they had in Colorado last year where, because they had those Nest deals, that the I don't remember whether it was the electric company, basically sent out a thing that they could control their Nests from wherever they were, from their headquarters. And so at certain times of the year when energy consumption is higher, they can turn your thermostat up so that your air conditioning doesn't come on as often. Or turn it off completely so that the energy grid doesn't take the hit.
Yeah. So I have one of those Nest thermostats, and I was telling a coworker about it, and I think it's based upon your company. Here in our city, they didn't do it for me, but in her city, they put a clause in there like, you can get this smart thermostat. However, be advised, like, disclaimer, we do have the right to turn the temperature up or down or whatever at any point. And I'm like, yeah, no, you probably shouldn't sign up for it because mine didn't tell me that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, because my wife is like, she's a closet conspiracy theorist. And so like I wanted to get like the Ring doorbell or something like that on our front door so that I could, like if I'm not home, I can see what's going on a little bit and stuff like that. Or if, Mila comes home from school or something like that, I can help let her in, or, something.
Yeah.
And and she's like, no, because then they can see us.
True.
Because it's online. But
they can see you everywhere you go too.
So pretty much, I mean, we're carrying on our smartphones, we're carrying a surveillance camera, we're carrying a GPS. They know where you're at. They can.
Yeah.
I was just actually looking. One of the articles was um, in California. They signed a bill. Where did I see that? I hate this. Why can't I ever go back to where I was at? Must have been on the other one. Oh, yeah. New cars in California could automatically alert drivers for breaking the speed limit. So I don't know whether they're just alerting the drivers, but I'm sure if they alert drivers, then they can also alert insurance companies.
True.
So I mean, I've wondered with driving for Amazon if while I'm in the app, they know I'm going X amount of miles over the speed limit, or because in certain spots I've actually seen where they had the wrong speed limit on, like I'm in the middle of nowhere country going 55 or 60, and the speed limit on it says 45. And I'm like, there's no way that this road is 45 miles an hour. It is a straight 2-lane, nothing road. It's like there's like maybe 3 houses on this whole mile. Maybe. But so I've kind of wondered about that, and then if they contact their insurance company about that or something, or what, because they're supposed to insure us all who drive.
Well, it always dawned on me whenever I would, the one time I did drive to Charlotte. Now, I've been to Charlotte, drove in Charlotte like 2 or 3 times, but how I think it's West Virginia that you go through, or Virginia.
Right.
I don't know. Don't give me the line. One of the Virginias, where they tell you like you're being monitored by radar in the sky or whatever. I always wonder like how did they like if they all they can see is the top of your car. And your car, let's say you and 10 other cars on the road are the same color. How do they know that it's you? Like, it's just.
I mean, they used to back in the early 90s and that, or late 90s when I started driving. They used to have like a helicopter up in the sky, and you would see like, if you ever saw like the white lines painted on the highway, like just on the side, just a white line, like a tick mark, basically. They would basically they would have a helicopter up there, and there would be somebody that was measuring the time your car took to get to the other line, and then they called down to a police officer to pull you over. And that's how they did like the speed limit deal. Now they have lasers and things of that nature that for speed and stuff like that they can. If you follow the science and stuff, they say that they can do it, but a lot of the science isn't 100%.
True.
But
very true.
Don't tell anyone. It's a conspiracy theory. Those obviously never come true.
Just watch The Simpsons. They know exactly what's going to happen.
Right. 10 years ahead of time. You never know when that's going to happen. Yeah. So, Lady D, any thoughts, any plans for the Memorial Day weekend? Anything that you got going down?
Man, I am in the house with it this weekend. I'm chilling. If somebody call me with some good plans, I may step out on a one sign. I got my hair did, looking right.
There you go.
So, might find your brother-in-law. You never know. But no, I have no plans, honestly. Of course, I'm always going to. I only want a hot dog on 4th of July and Memorial Day, and it's got to be grilled with a little barbecue sauce. So I'm going to have me a hot dog on Monday. Thankful to everybody who made the sacrifice for our country, and appreciate you. God bless you and your families, but no, I don't have no plans.
So I got a brisket. I got a brisket and a pork butt that's getting smoked probably.
That sounds good.
I'm gonna do that. I might be planting some garden.
Get the crops in the ground so we can be in production.
Try to. I'm waiting on all the materials. I was out there on Monday just beating myself to death trying to get the ground broken up, and let me tell you, that was a work. But yeah, so that got done, and I'm gonna put down this black cloth, neoprene cloth type stuff or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm waiting on that to come from Amazon, probably from China. But
it's from Texas. What are you talking about?
Texas, yeah, that's right. It's from Texarkana. But yeah, so I'm waiting on that to get there, and then that should cover everything, help me not have to weed so much.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I had to do some bug control. So my yard had some kind of bug or something that kept getting us. So I had to throw down a bunch of stuff. So yeah, this weekend, low key, like I kind of said in the beginning, just we're gonna reflect, kind of, get ready, and that kind of thing. So I do have some final. Gotta find it here. Final little deal. We did last year. We did a special for Memorial Day weekend, and I thought it was kind of fitting. It's the poem about Flanders Field. It's kind of the kind of what they say is the inspiration for Memorial Day weekend, for the Memorial Day holiday, which I didn't know until last year. They called it Decoration Day. Until they actually called it Memorial Day, and we actually just said that one of the stats that I gave in the beginning was that it wasn't a 4-day or a 3-day weekend until 1971, and they've been celebrating it since 1868 or 66, depending on who you want to fight about it. But so as we go out. I'm going to throw a little Stars and Stripes Forever on and, read this poem, which takes about 0.4 of a second. But, just kind of a fitting farewell for this leading into the Memorial Day. Like I said, Friday morning, this is going to come out on podcast. And, this would be good beginning to your weekend. So, like I always say, follow, like, and share. Get on our website. We've got subscriptions. Free helping us out is to follow, like, and share. Get out there. Let people know that we're out there fighting the good fight, getting people thinking about the different things that happen during the day, the different news articles. Get out there and get some education for yourself. Hopefully, we're semi-educational, if not anything else. But have a great weekend and enjoy Flanders Field. So in Flanders Field, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row. The mark that marked our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below, we are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunsets glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Field. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Field.